The following matchup is being played with History Maker Baseball Express, a fast-playing baseball simulation board game, a property of Play Games LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Welcome to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. In today's episode, man oh man, we're kicking off Field of Dreams week as we have our latest installment of Rivalry Night as we are featuring Resilience versus Grit as the 2024 Cleveland Guardians take on the 2024 Detroit Tigers. Who will come on top of this matchup? Stay tuned to find out because game one is just around the corner. But before we get to that, let's have a little look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of Rivalry Night as part of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. We would like to take this time to say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. First and foremost, thank you to Biddy Beer for sponsoring every mid-game and end-of-game summary throughout every episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Biddy Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste. At a Biddy price, it's Biddy Beer. They say it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Biddy Beer its distinctive taste, but we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our bats have never been cleaned, so there's an itty-bitty bit of history in every can. Biddy Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community. And every game that we go to extra innings, it is a Doc Cola extra innings ball game. Doc Cola uses the finest imitation ingredients to bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. With twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major brand, Doc Cola is sure to keep you wired from dawn till dusk. So take the Doc Cola challenge and see why our customers agree. You'll never be able to wean yourself from a refreshing Doc Cola. And by Pizza Kingdom. At Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York style pizza starts with the crust. Then we layer on a homemade pizza sauce and then load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, it's piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. And then we give that majestic culinary work of art to Mickey, our 16-year-old delivery driver who's as responsible as a tree stump. Pizza Kingdom, it's sheer perfection when it left the store. And by Suncoast Capital. At Suncoast, we live by one simple rule of investing. When your clients win, we win. And when our clients lose, we win, sort of. Suncoast Capital. You know we're gonna get all of your money anyway. And by Rubicon Wireless. Why pay $200 a month for wireless service when you can get 4 lines for just $25 a month? With our tin can plan, you can access our wireless network that covers at least 25% coast to coast between the hours 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. with unlimited text and messaging between those hours, of course. So why pay for a service you cannot live without? And we're just about set and ready to go for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night. And as you guys can see out on the table, it's Michigan versus Ohio, as it's the Detroit Tigers against the Cleveland Guardians. We are getting set to kick off a very special week here for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour, as we are highlighting the various qualities and the various looks from the classic baseball film Field of Dreams. Today's matchup will feature, kind of like a little resemblance to um, the resilience to the grit that many of us have in our lives. So, with that being said, representing resilience would be Cleveland, and representing grit is the Tigers. With that being said, let's get this matchup underway for Rivalry Night. Your starting pitching matchups for Game 1 is as follows. Ben Lively will go for the Guardians as he has Flash and Semi Control, and he will go up against Reese Olson for the Gritty Tigers as he has Semi Star, Flash, and Control. This game and every game throughout this episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour is played with History Maker Baseball Express. With that being said, lineups are out on screen. Parker Meadows is ready to lead things off against Ben Lively. And let's play ball from Progressive Field in Cleveland. We'll get things going with a 1-2-6. Struggler or Gilded on Lively? No. Hero Batter on Meadows? No. That's going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Parker Meadows is a slugger, or he has slugger, but the black die is not a 6. Only the red die is. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 6 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the first inning of play here at Progressive Field. The Tigers come away with nothing. Now it's the Guardians' turn in their half of the first inning. Three, 4, 6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, it's the I play it as 3 full fresh and 3 semi fresh. So technically, Reese Olson is considered fresh. Hero on Quan. He is a hero batter. So therefore, that's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. It seems Quan is a neutral runner. Oh man, the bases are loaded to begin the top half of the first for the Guardians, as it will be Lane Thomas up at the dish. Not like this. Don't want to relive that grand slam from Game 5 of the ALDS. Jeez. We go to the men on base chart. Oh, thank God. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. We have a right, and again, when we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a righty versus righty matchup, Reese Olson will get Lane Thomas to swing at a heater down and in for a strikeout. And that's going to do it for the bottom half of the first. The Guardians threaten but do not score in their half of the first. After an inning of play, it's Tigers nothing and the Cleveland Guardians nothing. Three, 5, 5. Star on Lively. He's not. Champion on Keith. He's not. That'll be a no runs result. Yes, no runs result of a 5 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the first inning and a half of play here in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night, with your score all even up at a big fat goose egg. One, 2, 5. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, we're still in the full freshness innings. So Reese Olson is considered fresh. Do we have a champion batter on Jose Ramirez? Wish he was, but he's not. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 2 innings of this ball game here for Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night, with your score: Tigers nothing and the Guardians nothing. 3, 4, 6. 3, 4, 6 to begin the top half of the third. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Lively is the current starter for Cleveland. We're still in the full freshness inning, so therefore, Lively is still considered fresh. Hero on Riley Green. No, that is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Riley Green has semi home run king. Uh-oh. Ben Lively just hung a breaking ball in Riley Green's sweet zone. The decider die says dot, and you can kiss that one goodbye. Riley Green gets the Tigers on the board with a solo home run to get things started here in the top half of the third, and that's where the score is going to stand after 2.5 innings of play. As thanks to Riley Green, the Tigers lead it 1-0 over the team down south of Michigan's border. This roll is for the bottom half of the third. 1-1-6. Struggler on Olson. He's not. Utility on David Fry. He's not a utility batter. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. It seems Olson has flash. So therefore, that one will be reduced to a big fat goose egg. And it will be a no runs result of a 1 blank. And that will probably seal up the deal for the first 3 innings here at Progressive Field in Cleveland with your score. Good guys from Detroit, Michigan, 1, and the bad guys from Cleveland, Ohio, 0. 2-3-5. Star on Lively. He's not a star. 2-4. Oh, excuse me. 2-3-5. Star. Oh, I read that right. Sorry. Star on Lively. No. Sad Sack on Kerry Carpenter. Get out of here. No way. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Ben Lively has flash. So therefore, that 3 will be reduced to a 2. That'll put Kerry Bonds on at second base for Spencer Torkelson. He'll hit off the men on base chart with a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. We're in the semi-freshest innings. And when we're in this portion of the semi-freshest innings, I play with the decider die as dot, he's still fresh, blank, he's not. So with that being said, Ben Lively is still considered fresh. So therefore, he will get the ground out. The Tigers threaten but do not score. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It's Tigers 1 and the Guardians 0. 2-3-5. Star on Olson. He's a semi-star. However, the decider die says he is not. 2-3-5. Here we are. Sad Sack on Josh Naylor. He is not. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Reese Olson has flash from 3 to a 2. That'll put Naylor on at second base for Jackenzie Noel. Big Christmas. We go to the men on base chart for his at bat with a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Again, when we're in the semi-freshest innings, I go by with the decider die as dot, he's fresh, blank, he's not. So with that being said, according to the decider die showing dot, Reese Olson will get the ground out of Jackenzie Noel. And we are through 4 innings of play with your score. Good guys from Detroit, Michigan, 1, and the bad guys from Cleveland, Ohio, 0. 1-2-4. Ace on Lively. He's not an ace. Champ on Zach McKinstry. He's not. That'll be a no runs result of a 4 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 4.5 innings here at Progressive Field in Cleveland with your score, Tigers 1 and the Guardians 0. 2-3-4. 2-3-4. Here we are. Pitcher not fresh. Reese, and of course, we're in the semi-freshest inning still, and this time, Reese Olson is not fresh. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Andres Jimenez is a semi-active runner. The decider die says, oh, he's not. So therefore, runners at the corners for Tyler Freeman off the men on base chart. This is not good, folks. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Good bounce back by Reese Olson. That is going to be a ground out, as the decider die says he is still fresh. So therefore, that'll do it for the first 5 innings The Guardians threaten but do not score. It remains good guys from Detroit, Michigan 1, and the bad guys from Cleveland, Ohio, nothing. 1-2-5. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, we're in the semi-freshest inning still, and Ben Lively, according to the decider die, is not fresh. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Matt Bierling is the active batter for the Tigers. He is a neutral runner. The runners will be placed on second and third for Javi Baez. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 23. Eager grounds out. Oh, Javi Baez is an eager batter. So therefore, that he will get the ground out. The Tigers threaten but do not score in their half of the sixth inning. And after 5.5 innings of play, the score remains 1-0 in favor of the good guys from Detroit, Michigan. 366. Workman on Olson. He's not. Utility on Hedges. No. That'll be an RBI question mark result. Oh, wow. From out of nowhere, the black die is a 6. Oh, man. I was hoping for a tie game, but Austin Hedges, there is a rule in History Maker Baseball Express that if the black die is a 6 and an RBI question mark result comes up and the decider die shows that, it's not only 1 RBI, it's 2 RBI. So Austin Hedges gives Cleveland a 2-1 lead over the Tigers from out of nowhere as we finish the first 6 innings here at Progressive Field. It's now Cleveland 2 and the Tigers 1. Timeout. We're on our way to the bottom half, the top half of the seventh, I should say, as we do see a new bullpen arm for the Cleveland Guardians, as it is Tim Herron out on the hill, as he has ace, flash, and semi-control for this at-bat against Jake Rogers. Tim Herron will have the full extent use of the control quality. With that being said, we play on here in the bottom half of the seventh, top half of the seventh. I'm getting ahead of myself. With your score, Cleveland 2 and the Tigers 1. Two, 4, 5. Struggler on Jake. Oh, I'm sorry. Struggler on Heron. No. Satsack on Jake. He's a semi-sat sack, and the decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 4 blank, and that is going to seal up the deal. We head to the stretch here at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio, with your score: Cleveland Guardians 2 and the Detroit Tigers 1. We're about ready to resume play here in the bottom half of the seventh with the Cleveland Guardians in front of the Detroit Tigers 2-1. As we do see Brant Herter now on the hill for the Tigers, as he has semi-ace, flash, and double control. For this at-bat against Stephen Kwan, Brant Herter will have the full extent use of the double flash quality. With that being said, it's Guardians 2, Tigers 1, as we resume play here in the bottom half of the seventh inning. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, Brant Herter was brought in for the bullpen, so he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Satsack on Kwan. He's not a Satsack. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if control. Brant Herter has double control, so therefore, from 4 to a 2, putting Kwan on at second base for Lane Thomas. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 55. Batting team dissonant or pitching team harmonious. And again, no team throughout the entirety of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour is taking full advantage of who's dissonant or who's harmonious or not. So therefore, it will be a single. Another run comes home to score. It's now Cleveland 3, Tigers 1, as it will be a runner on first for Jose Ramirez, and that is not good. When Jose Ramirez steps up to the plate, he's a Tiger killer, no doubt. But when there are guys on the plate, or excuse me, guys on base, you really don't want to be facing Jose Ramirez with ducks on the pond. So with that being said, we continue on the men on base chart with a 33. Scrapper hits single. Ramirez is not a scrapper. That is going to be a triple. Another run does come across home to score, as it's now 4-1 Cleveland, and that is going to bring up David Fry off of the men on base chart. 11. Batting team harmony or pitching team to sonnet. Again, no team throughout the inaugural season for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour will be taking full advantage of who is harmonious or dissonant or not. So therefore, Brant Herter will get the much needed ground out to keep the score right here at 4-1 in favor of Cleveland. So hopefully hoping the Tigers can crawl their way back into the ball game. We head to the 8th by that score. 3-5-6. Workman on Heron. He's not. Champ on Meadows. He's not. That is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Parker Meadows has slugger. The black die is a 6. Therefore, Parker Meadows is going to hit one high, far, and into the deep Cleveland night for a solo home run. That's all they're going to get out of this inning here. It's now the lead is cut in half. It's 4-2 in favor of the Cleveland Guardians after 7.5 innings of play. We're on to Josh Naylor's at bat here with a 1-1-6. Struggler on Herter. No, he's not. Utility on Naylor. He's a semi-utility, and the decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Josh Naylor has semi-home run king. The decider die says he does. Oh, that one stings. That's going to be a 5-2 lead for Cleveland here in the bottom half of the 8th, and that is going to do it for the first 8 innings. Last call for the Motor City Kitties, as it's now Guardians 5, Tigers 2. 1-5-5. Ace on Heron. Gosh darn it, he is an ace. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that is going to be the ball game. Your final score for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Guardians and the Tigers is the Guardians winning it 5-2 over the Motor City Kitties. Stay tuned for the Game 1 game summary presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a bitty price. It's Bitty Beer. Once again, the final score for Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. The Guardians come out of nowhere as they trounce the Tigers 5-2. And we're coming at you from Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Cleveland Guardians and the Detroit Tigers. Your starting pitching matchup for this game will be Casey Mize on the hill for the Tigers. He has a semi-workman, flash, and control, while he'll be going up against Gavin Williams for Cleveland, as he has a workman quality and the flash quality. With that being said, Jackenzie Noel is ready to lead things off for Cleveland, and Mize is ready to go and he is all set. Let's play ball from Comerica Park for game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 2-3-3. Ace on Mize. No. Utility on Noel. He's a semi-utility. The decider dice says he's not. Therefore, it's going to be an RBI question mark check. Did Cleveland jump in front? Oh, they did. Unbelievable. So therefore, thanks to an RBI from Jackenzie Noel, the Guardians will take a 1-0 lead over the Tigers. Get their half inning of play. It's Guardians 1, and the Tigers are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. Two, 4-4. Ace on Williams. No. Utility on Riley Green. He's not. That'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. If control, Gavin Williams does not have control. Runners at the corners for Kerry Carpenter. Oh boy. Let's see what we got here. 34. Slugger hits double. Kerry Carpenter is a slugger, so therefore the Tigers are going to tie up the game. One run is going to come across to score. That is going to be the runner on third, and it will be second and third. The runner on first goes to third, as it will be second and third for Spencer Torkelson in a 1-1 tie. 12. Slugger hits home run. Spencer Torkelson is a semi-slugger. The decider dice says he's not. Therefore, it's going to be a single. Runners advance 2 bases, but the Tigers do grab the lead thanks to the runner on the runner on third scoring and the runner on second scoring, and that is now, and it's now Tigers 3, Guardians 1 after an inning of play. 2-2-5. 2-2-5. Ace on Mize. No. Hero on Andres Jimenez. He's not a hero. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 2 dot. And that will seal up the deal for the first inning and a half here at Comerica Park, with the good guys from Detroit leading it 3-1 over the bad guys from Cleveland, Ohio. 1-2-6. Struggler or Gilded on Williams. No. Hero on Dylan Dingler. He's not a hero. Therefore, it'll be a 1-2-6. Oh, I'm sorry. Struggler Gilded on Williams. No. Hero on Dylan Dingler. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Dylan Dingler does not have home run king or slugger qualities. So therefore, that is going to do it for the first 2 innings here at Comerica Park, with the Tigers in front of the Guardians 3-1, as it will be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And that will seal up the deal for the first 2 innings, with the good guys in front 3-1. 2-3-6. 2-3-6. Here we are. Struggler or Gilded on Mize. No. Satsack on Brian Rocchio. He's not. That's going to be an RBI question mark check, and the decider dice says no, but the 6 was right there. Unbelievable. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 2 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 2.5 innings here at Comerica Park, with your score: Tigers 3 and the Guardians 1. 1-1-4. Struggler on Gavin Williams. He's not a struggler. Champ on Veerling. He's not a champ. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank, and that'll seal up the deal for the first 3 innings here at Comerica Park, with the score staying 3-1 in favor of the good guys from Detroit, Michigan. 2-3-6. Struggler on Mize. He's not. 236. Here we are. Sad sack on Bo Naylor. He's a semi-sad sack. The decider die says he is not. So therefore, it's going to be an RBI question mark check. And the Guardians are going to stay put at 1 run, and it will be a no runs result of a 2-0. And my goodness, folks, Mize, so far through 4 innings of play, has shut down the Guardians in 3 of the 4 innings played here in this ball game. With that being said, we head to the bottom of the 4th. The Tigers still lead the Cleveland Guardians 3-1. 236. Struggler or gilded on Williams? No. Sad sack on Jace Young. He's not a sad sack. Therefore, it's going to be an RBI question mark check. And unfortunately, the decider die says no RBI. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 6-0. And that will seal up the deal for the first 4 innings of play here at Comerica Park. With your score, Tigers 3 and the Guardians 1. 224. Ace on Mize. He's not an ace. Utility on Stephen Kwan. He's not. Therefore, it's going to be 224. Here we are. Men on base result, -1 for the black die of control. Mize has control. Go big or go home, says Cleveland. They're going to place the runner on at third base for Angel Martinez. He will be the center fielder for this ball game for Cleveland as he bats off the men on base chart with a 16. Good eye? No, Martinez does not have a good eye. So therefore, it will be a strikeout. And Mize has shut down Cleveland since Jackenzie Noel scored their first run of the ball game in the first inning. AC Mize has mowed down the Guardians. Still, the Tigers lead it 3-1. No lead is safe. 245. Struggler on Williams. He's not a struggler. Sad sack on Trey Sweeney. He's not a sad sack. Therefore, it will be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash or control. Gavin Williams has flashed 4-3. This time, the Tigers are not going to play go big or go home. They're going to place the runners on at first and second for Parker Meadows to bat off the men on base chart. 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Unfortunately, Parker Meadows is not a patient batter. Therefore, it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 6. Oh, and Gavin Williams, did he ever need that? That is going to be a ground out to end the first 5 innings here at Comerica Park. With your score still remaining, Tigers 3 and the Guardians 1. 1-2-3. Workmen or struggler on Mize. He's a semi-workman. The decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Jose Ramirez is a semi-active runner. The decider die says, oh, he is. So therefore, that is going to place runners at the corners from 3 to a 4. And that'll bring up Kyle Manzardo, a Michigan native representing a team from Ohio. And we play off the men on base chart with a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Good bounce back by Casey Mize as he will get the ground out as the decider die says that he is still fresh. With that being said, after 5.5 innings of play, the score remains 3-1 in favor of the Detroit Tigers here in Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 166. Ace on Williams. He's not an ace. 166. Here we are. Sad sack on Colt Keith. He's not a sad sack. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Colt Keith is a neutral runner, so therefore he'll be placed on at first base for Riley Green, the bat off the men on base chart. He could bust this puppy dog wide open with one swing of the bat. 13. Fresh or relief pitcher gets the pop out. We're in the semi-first innings, and unfortunately, the decider die says yes, Williams is still considered fresh. So therefore, Riley Green is going to pop out to end the inning here at Comerica Park with a score remaining now of 3-1 still in favor of the good guys from Detroit, Michigan, the Detroit Tigers. Mize will be back out there for one more inning as the bullpen is still getting loose and getting ready to be warming up pretty soon. We have a 1-3-3. Ace on Mize. No. Sad sack on Josh Naylor. Wish he was, but he's not. That is going to be an RBI question mark check. Yep. And it will be, oh my God. The Guardians are going to tack on another run. So from second inning to about the seventh inning here, that'll break a string of scoreless innings for Casey Mize, going from the second inning to this inning here as the Guardians creep a little bit closer. It's now Tigers 3, Guardians 2. We head to the stretch here in Motown by that score. Timeout. And it seems that Hunter Gaddis will be the new pitcher for the Guardians as the Cleveland manager has shook in the hand of his starting pitcher, Gavin Williams, on a job well done to keep the Tigers at bay to allow the Guardians to hopefully crawl back into this one. For this at-bat against Kerry Bonds, Gary Carpenter, Hunter will have the full extent use of the double flash quality. With that being said, it's Tigers 3, Guardians 2 as we resume play. We're in the bottom half of the seventh inning. 1-1-5. Struggler on Gaddis. He's not. Utility on Carp. He's not. That is going to be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die of flash. Remember, we gave Hunter Gaddis the double flash quality for this at bat against Kerry Carpenter. So that 5 will be reduced to a 3. Bad move, Chief. Go big or go home. The Tigers are going to place runners on at third base for Spencer Torkelson to hit off the men on base chart. We head to the men on base chart with a 26. Home run king, it's home run. Spencer Torkelson is not a home run king. Therefore, it will be a contact result. And I roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 5. Champ on Torque. He's not a champ. That's going to be a pop out to end the bottom half of the seventh here at Comerica Park. The Tigers threaten but do not score here in their half of the seventh. We go to the eighth inning with your score, Tigers 3 and the Guardians 2. Timeout. We're on our way to the top half of the eighth, and with the Tigers in front of the Guardians, 3-2, as we have Tyler Holton on the hill, as he has ace, flash, and double control for this at bat against Jackenzie Noel. Tyler Holton will have the full extent use of the double flash quality. With that being said, we resume play here in the top half of the eighth with the big Christmas up at the dish. With the score, Tigers 3 and the Guardians 2. 2-2-4. Ace on Holton. You better believe it, he is an ace. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 4 blank. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first 7.5 innings here at Comerica Park with your score, Tigers 3 and the Guardians 2. 3, 4, 5. Let's see here. Star on Gaddis. He is a star. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 3 blank. Last call for the Guardians. We head to the 9th inning with your score Tigers 3 and the Guardians 2. 3, 3, 4. Star on Tyler Holton. He's not a star. Utility on Andres Jimenez. He's not a utility. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die of control. Tyler Holton has double control, so therefore, from 3 to a 1, the tying run is on at first base for Brian Rocchio to hit off the men on base chart. 23, eager batter. No, Brian Rocchio is not eager. That's going to be ball 4. Take your base. The winning run is on at first. Excuse me. Yes, the winning run is on at first base for Bo Naylor. We go back to the men on base chart with a 25. Iron fielder commits the error. Matt Bierling is not an iron fielder. That is going to be a ground out. The Guardians threaten but do not score here in their half of the 9th, and that is going to be the ball game. The final score here for Game 2. The series is all evened up at a game apiece as we head back to the land at Progressive Field in Cleveland with the series all even up at 1 game apiece. Someone is going to have to win this next game. And who will it be? We'll find out in a matter of moments. But first, let's take a look at our Game 2 game summary presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste. At a bitty price, it's Bitty Beer. Once again, the final score here for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. The Guardians come away rally for nothing, but the Tigers do manage to tie up the series at a game apiece, going back to Cleveland with your score, with the final score being Tigers 3 and the Guardians 2. Winner takes it all time once more here from Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Tigers and the Guardians. And man, oh man, what a pitching matchup we are going to have for you on hand. Tanner Bybee will go for the Guardians as he has semi-star flash of control, and he's going to go up against Tarek Skubal. Those aren't boos. They're scoops. As Scooble has ace, semi-ace, flash, and double control. With that being said, Jace Young is ready to lead things off for the Tigers against Bybee. The winner of this game will win this episode of Rivalry Night between the Tigers and the Guardians. It's time to play ball from Progressive Field in Cleveland. 1-2-6 is where we're going to begin this game with. Struggler or Gilded on Bybee. He's not. Hero on Young. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Jace Young does not have home run king or slugger qualities, so therefore it will be a no runs result of a 2-dot. Tigers come away with nothing, and it's now the Guardians' turn against Tarek Skubal to see what they can do in their half of the first inning. 1-3-3. Ace on Skubal. He's a semi-ace, and the decider die says, yes, sir, he is. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 3-dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first inning of play. here at Progressive Field in Cleveland. We have no score as we head to the second inning. Three, five, six. Workman on Bybee. He's not. Champ. 3, 5, 6. Yes, Champ on Sweeney. He's not a champ. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Trey Sweeney has slugger. However, the decider die says the black die is not a 3. So it's not a 6. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 6 blank. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first inning and a half here for game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night with your score, Tigers nothing and the Guardians nothing. One, 4, 5. Ace or dynamic on Scooble. He's a semi-ace. This time the decider die says he's not. 1, 4, 5. Here we are. Sad sack on Angel Martinez. He's not a sad sack. Therefore, it's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Let's see here. Scooble has flash. That 5 will be reduced to a 3. The Guardians are not going to play go big or go home just yet, but they'll bring on base runners on first and second for Jose Ramirez off the men on base chart. 33. Scrapper hits single. Jose Ramirez is not a scrapper. The Guardians are going to fight first into this game as it is now 2-0 thanks to a Jose Ramirez triple. And that is going to bring up Kyle Manzardo up at the dish. Off the men on base chart with a 23. Eager grounds out. Manzardo is a semi-eager batter. The decider die says he's not. He's going to walk Manzardo. Runners are at the corners now for Josh Naylor. The pitching coach is on his way out to the mound to calm down Tarek Skubal as he is in a heap of trouble here to begin these first inning and a half of play for his outing for game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night, as the Guardians are on top of the Tigers 2-0 here in this final game of this set for this episode of Rivalry Night. With that being said, we continue on to play here in the bottom half of the second inning with Josh Naylor up the dish off the men on base chart. 66. Scrapper hits single. Naylor does not have Scrapper, so therefore it's going to be a double, folks. 4-0 Guardians now. That is so not the way that I anticipated this matchup to get started here for Tarek Skubal. Unbelievable, feeling it in front of the enemy crowd here in Cleveland as the Guardians are jumping all over the Tigers 4-0. And we bat back on the men on base chart with a 23. Eager grounds out. Jackenzie Noel is a semi-eager batter. The decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, it will be a ground out, and Skubal is not happy with himself after 2 innings of play. The Guardians jump all over the Tigers for 4 runs here in the bottom half of the second inning, and they lead it 4-0 over the Tigers. 1-1-3. Struggler on Bybee. No. Utility on Meadows. No. That's going to be an RBI question mark check, and unfortunately, the decider die says no. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 2.5 innings of this ball game here with your score: Guardians 4 and the Tigers nothing. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Star on Skubal. No. Sad sack on Andres Jimenez. He's not a sad sack. That'll be another man on base result with a -1 for the black die if flash or control. Tarek Skubal has both flash and double control. So therefore, it will be reducing the number by 3. So from 4 to a 1, putting Andres Jimenez on at first base. And that'll bring up uh, Brian Rocchio off the men on base chart. 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Brian Rocchio is not patient, so therefore it will be a contact result. I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 5. Champ on Rocchio. He's not a champ. That is going to be a pop out to end the third inning of play, the first 3 innings of game 3 with your score. Guardians 4 and the Tigers nothing. 466. Workman on Bybee. He's not. Hero on Colt Keith. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, 466. Here we are. That is going to be a man on base result with a base running adjustment. Colt Keith is a neutral runner. All the bases are loaded. One swing of the bat, and the Tigers can tie up the game. Oh man. 26. Home run king, it's home run. Riley Green is a semi-home run king, but the decider die says he is not. Therefore, it will be a contact result with a 4. Champer hero. Riley Green is neither. That is going to be a ground out. Oh, man, that stings. Unbelievable. So, therefore, that is going to strand the ducks on the pond for the Tigers as we're through 3.5 innings of this game for game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night with your score, Guardians 4 and the Tigers nothing. 1, 2, 3. Workman or struggler on Scooble. He's not. Champ on Bo Naylor. He's not. That is going to be a no runs result. Workman struggler, no. Champ, no. Yes, no runs result of a 1 dot. It's a start to hopefully keep the Guardians at bay, but they still lead it over the Tigers 4-0. As we will bring up Kerry Carpenter to lead things off in the 5th inning. 2-2-4. Ace on Bybee. No. Utility on Carpenter. No. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of control. Bybee has control. They're going to place Carp on at first base from 2 to a 1. And that is going to bring up Spencer Torkelson off the men on base chart. 66. Scrapper hits single. Spencer Torkelson is not a scrapper. Therefore, it's going to be a double. The Tigers are going to get on the board thanks to an RBI double from Spencer Torkelson. And that is going to bring up the native Ohioan, Dylan Dingler, off the men on base chart. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. We're in the semi-freshest innings, and I go by as dot, he's fresh, blank, he's not. Tanner Bybee is not fresh. So therefore, it's going to be a single. Runners advance 2 bases. The lead is cut in half now. The score is Guardians 4, Tigers 2. The Guardians manager is going to keep Bybee in this one, hoping to get Matt Fearling out of the game. To get Matt Fearling out. Let's see if he can do it off the men on base chart. 11. Batting team harmony or pitching team decided. Well, again, no team throughout the inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour will be taking full advantage of who's harmonious or who's decided or not. So therefore, it will be a ground out, and that will do it and that'll probably be the day for Tanner Bybee as he allows 2 runs here in the 5th inning. And the Guardians manager is not going to push it further. He's going to go to the pen, hopefully, to keep the Tigers at bay. But for right now, after 4.5 innings of play, your score, is Guardians 4 and the Tigers 2. Two, three, four. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, we're in the semi-freshest innings, and I go by as dot. He's still fresh. Blank. He's not. Tarek Skubal, according to the Decider Die, is considered fresh. Sad sack on Stephen Kwan. He's not a sad sack, so therefore it'll be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die of control. What a way to get out of the inning if you're Tarek Skubal. He has double control. 2 says bye-bye. And that will be a no runs result of a 3 dot. And that is going to seal. Oh, sorry, the decider die was used. And it will remain 3 dot. Who knew? So with that being said, we go to the sixth inning here at Progressive Field in Cleveland with your score: Guardians 4, Tigers 2. We do see a new bullpen trotting in from deep right center field, and we'll know who that is after we take this really quick timeout. We're back here at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio, as it seems Cade Smith will be on the hill for the Cleveland Guardians, as he has ace, double flash, and control credited to his name. For this at bat against Jace Young, Cade Smith will have the full extent use of the double control quality. With that being said, we resume action here in the top half of the sixth with your score: Guardians 4 and the Tigers 2. 2, 3, 4. Pitcher not fresh. Smith was brought into the game, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the game. Sad sack on Jace Young. He's not. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Remember, we gave Cade Smith the full extent use of the double control quality. So from 4 to a 2, that is where Jace Young is going to be placed at for Trey Sweeney. Go bat off the men on base chart with, oh my God, 15 scrapper hits double. Unfortunately, Trey Sweeney is not a scrapper. You can kiss this one bye-bye. The Tigers, courtesy of Trey Sweeney, will tie the game up at 4. Unbelievable, folks. We go to the we go to the bottom half of the sixth with your score now evened up at 4 between the Tigers and the Guardians. We have a ball game now, folks. 2, 4, 5. Struggler on Skubal. He's not. Sad sack on Angel Martinez. He's not. That'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash or control. Yes, Skubal has both flash and double control. So 4 to a 2 and 2 to a 1. That will place Angel Martinez on at first base for Jose Ramirez. He'll bat off the men on base chart with a 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. And it seems against left-handed pitching for switch hitters, since Jose Ramirez is a switch hitter, usually against left-handed pitching, he will bat right-handed. So no, they're not the same. So therefore, it will be a contact result. It's a 4. Champ or hero? Ramirez is neither. So therefore, it will be a ground out to end the first 6 innings here at Progressive Field in Cleveland. We got ourselves a ball game now, folks. Who's going to win it? Tigers or the Guardians? Stay tuned to find out. We go to the 7th, all knotted up at 4 between the Tigers and the Guardians. 1, 2, 3. Workman or struggler on Cade Smith? No. Champion on Parker Meadows? He's not. That'll be a no runs result of a 3 blank. We head to the stretch here at Progressive Field in Cleveland with your score all deadlocked at 4 all between the Tigers and the Guardians. 1-2-4. Ace on Scooble. He's a semi-ace, and the decider dice says yes, he is. That's going to be a no runs result of a 4-dot, and that will end the first 7 innings. Oh, excuse me. Here at Progressive Field in Cleveland, with your score still knotted up at 4 apiece. Three, four, six. 3-4-6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Kate Smith is the bullpen hero arm, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Hero batter on Colt Keith. He's a semi-hero, but the decider dice says he's not. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Colt Keith has semi-slugger. However, the decider dice says he does not. The black die is not a 6, though. So therefore, it will remain a no runs result of a 4 blank, and that will seal up the deal for hero was used. Yes, the Saturday was used to check if he was a hero or not. So therefore, 4 dot will be the no runs narrative result. We go to the bottom half of the 8th. Your score is remaining at 4 apiece between the Tigers and the Guardians. 3-5-5. Star on Scooble. He's not. Champ on Naylor. No. That is going to be a no runs result of a 3-dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 8 innings here at the Progressive Field in Cleveland. Your score remains 4-4 in favor, still deadlocked at 4 between the Tigers and the Guardians. 1-2-5. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Kate Smith is the bullpen hero arm, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Champ on Riley Green. He's not a champion. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Will there be extras, or will the Guardians walk it off to win Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night? The score remains deadlocked at 4 as we head to the bottom of the 9th. And before we go there, 1-2-5, no runs of a 2-dot. 2-dot. So I just want to make sure I didn't forget that. So we move on to the bottom of the 9th with a 2-2-4. Ace on Scooble. He's not. Utility on Jackenzie Noel. The decider die says he's not. So therefore, 2-2-4. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of control. Tarek Scooble has double control. So therefore, from 4 to a 2, that'll place Jackenzie Noel on at second base for Andres Jimenez off the men on base chart. And this is where really a key play may come into play here, folks. It's unbelievable, but it is what it is. So with that being said, we head to the men on base chart for Andres Jimenez, 35. Control. Yes, sir. Tarek Scooble goes the distance, full 9 innings, and he will send this game to extra innings. Forget the Ghost Runner. We're playing old school. Extra innings presented by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community, as it will be a ground out on Andres Jimenez as we will head to Doc Cola extra innings for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 1-3-4 to begin Doc Cola extra innings. 1-3-4. Here we are. Ace on Smith. You better believe it. He is an ace. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank. And that is going to take us to the bottom of the 10th. We do see a new bullpen arm trotting in for the bullpen for the Tigers. We'll see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. And it seems that Sean Gunther will be on the hill for the Tigers as he has ace, star, semi flash, and double control. For this at bat against Brian Rocchio, Gunther will have the full extent use of the flash quality. With that being said, we resume play in the bottom of the 10th with your score Tigers 4 and the Guardians 4. 136. Ace on Gunther. You better believe it, he is an ace. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And we go to the 11, all knotted up at 4 between the Tigers and the Guardians. 256. 256. Here we go. Workman on Cade Smith. No. Sad sack on Spencer Torkelson. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the Black Die at Flash. Cade Smith has double flash. 5 to a 3. Go big or go home. They're placing the runner on at third for Dylan Dingler. He'll bat off the men on base chart here in the bottom half, in the top half of the 11th with a 24. Goldfielder makes the out. Bo Naylor is not gold. The Tigers are going to take the lead thanks to a miscue by Bo Naylor. Oh my goodness. So the gritty Tigers have come all the way back, down 4-0, tying up at 4 to force extras, and they lead it here in the 11th thanks to a Dylan Dingler gets on first base via the error by Bo Naylor. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Unbelievable. We continue to roll on the men on base chart for Matt Bierling with a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Cade Smith is the relief arm. He is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. So therefore, he will get the ground out. But we go to the bottom of the 11th. Last call for the Guardians to hopefully tie it up to send this game to the 12th. Will they do it? Let's find out right now as it's Tigers 5 and the Guardians 4. 1-2-4. Ace on Gunther. He is an ace. That is going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And folks, the gritty Tigers, down 4-0, have come back from the dead to win this episode of Rivalry Night as the Tigers take Game 3 by the final score of 5-4 in 11 innings. Unbelievable. So thank you. And once again, stay tuned for the Biddy Beer game summary presented by your favorite Biddy Beer products. And again, every game summary throughout the inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour is being presented by your favorite Biddy Beer products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Biddy Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a Biddy price. It's Biddy Beer. Once again, the final score, the Tigers win this episode of Rivalry Night 2-1 with a dominating performance by Tarek Skubal, calming down the Guardians after the blowout in the second inning. They stuck with him through all 9 innings, and they went to the pen in extra innings as the Tigers grab the lead thanks to an error by Bo Naylor, and they win this ball game in 11 innings by the final of 5-4. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Rivalry Night as we featured the 2024 Cleveland Guardians taking on the 2024 Detroit Tigers, as it was Resilience versus Grit. Well, it seems we ran out of time for today, but never fear. Let's see what's coming up next time and what's be coming through that cornfield right behind the logo for the next episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. And it seems we are going to rewind the clock all the way back to 1982 as we are going to feature a Midwestern Field World Series as the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Milwaukee Brewers on the latest edition of World Series Rewind. Who will come on top of this matchup? Stay tuned to find out next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour that was being played with History Maker Baseball Express. We look forward to bringing you more matchups of Rivalry Night, World Series Rewind, Cross Era Showdown, and a blast from the past as we revisit some classic and memorable games from Major League Baseball throughout the 2026 Major League Baseball regular season.